touched him to his forehead. But
these detectives did not see Helguth as the actual killer. In fact, DNA samples taken at a post-mortem show that he was not. But they think he may have been involved. One reason is that they've always believed it likely that more than one person was in the Ramsey home that night. The footprints suggest this, as do the number of objects taken in and out of the house. These include a rope, stun gun, cord, and duct tape. It would have been difficult for just one person to have done everything that was done that night. And the ransom note also suggests that more than one person was involved. It says, "We are a group of individuals that represent a small foreign faction." It warns about the two gentlemen watching over your daughter. Throughout, it refers to the kidnappers in the plural. The new team of detectives think Helguth may well have been involved as an accomplice of an even more deadly killer, one who later murdered him to stop him talking after Alex Hunter's unnerving press conference. In trying to identify a potential killer, they came up with an important clue. In the months before the murder, up to a dozen homes near the Ramseys were broken into at night. There was a curious pattern to these burglaries. Little or nothing was taken. Detectives believe they were carried out simply for the thrill of stalking others at night. The break-ins stopped abruptly after the murder. The Boulder police did not link them to the murder, but the new investigators believe they might be the key to everything. Because Helguth, too, used to stalk people at night. It happened to John Kennedy.
I was working on a car late one evening in my garage. I kind of get the feeling there's something out there, and went right up to the window to look. I looked and it was real quiet and I don't see anything. I look again and all I could see were a pair of eyes coming out of the black. I don't know why I figured, well, this could be Michael. So I said, "Is that you, Mike?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, how long you been out there?" And he goes, "Long enough." And he's gone. I thought it was kind of strange.
Helguth used to stalk people at night, dressed in black ninja clothing. When looking for his possible killer, detectives looked for a violent associate who shared his interest in martial arts and young girls. They immediately came up with one, a close associate who has since disappeared, a man who frightens those around him.
I tried to steer clear of that individual because he could have been, a menace to me or my family.
Were you personally scared of him?
On a level, I'd have to say yes. Absolutely. I think he was capable of being violent towards anybody.
He threatened to cut one of his girlfriend's ears off. His ex-wife, he tried to kill her. They were only married probably 5-6 days.
Helguth's associate lived in this trailer park near the car salvage yard. The makers of this program know his name, but have decided to withhold it because he has not been charged with any offense. But the more that has been discovered about him, the more he fits the profile of a stalker and a killer.
He was very methodical. He wanted everything down to the last detail. He didn't want anybody else to have any control. If he didn't feel like he was controlling a situation, he would lash out.
Martial arts, he liked those throwing knives. He was into ninja. He was into the dark clothing. He always wore a black t-shirt, black pants, black boots.
Helguth's associate was convicted following a stabbing here on the trailer park. Witnesses were too frightened to give evidence, but court documents summarized his criminal record as violence, history of sexual assault. They also revealed that he was a convicted pedophile. He was imprisoned in the 1980s for a sexual assault on a child. It is believed that he may have worked in the Ramsey home shortly before the family moved in. Unidentified animal hairs were found in the cellar where John Bonet's body was left. The hairs were of two colors. Helgoth's associate raised wolf dogs whose hairs exactly match those colors. Helgoth had bought 2 of these dogs.
If Michael Hilgoth and this one associate that we identified were actually involved in the burglaries, they could have easily been involved in the murder also. There was just too many associated items that could tie him to it. That means that he has to be eliminated. We need DNA from him, wherever he might be.
These investigators see the associate as their prime suspect in the Ramsey case. Tracking him down, they say, is a priority. The need to do so made more urgent by revelations about another horrific crime the Ramsey killer may have committed. After the murder of John Benet Ramsey, a prime suspect has been identified for the killing. He's been identified by new investigators who have also uncovered disturbing facts about another crime he may have committed.
Manpower-wise, with investigators.
It occurred in an affluent area of Boulder, near the Ramsey home, just 9 months after the killing of John Benet. A mother and her 12-year-old daughter returned to their home here after a visit to the cinema. The girl attended the same dance studio in Boulder as John Benet. The Dance West studio is now derelict and about to be pulled down. But detectives think the fact that the girl danced here might explain what happened that night. Her father was away on business. When the girl and her mother returned home, they were alone. They are still too upset to talk publicly about what happened next. There was an intruder in their home. The father is anxious to protect the family's identity.
My feeling is he got into the house while they were out and hid inside the house.
After turning on the burglar alarm, the mother went to bed. Sometime later, the intruder crept into the girl's bedroom. He put his hand over her mouth. He used her name and told her he knew her. He began a sexual assault and a possible abduction. But the mother close by was a light sleeper.
My wife heard whispering. She got up, asked if everything was okay. She got a non-committal reply. Thought that there might be someone moving around. She took a can of mace and walked into the other bedroom. And that's when she saw a man there. He ran past her and ran out a bedroom window where he had to jump off the roof.
It was what he was wearing, though, which has intrigued detectives.
He was dressed completely in black from head to foot, like a ninja.
His mask was pulled up. But detectives say the black clothing strengthens their belief that this case may be linked to the Ramsey murder.
And what we found is that there were a lot of similarities between the Dance West case and the Ramsey case. We have a little girl who was in her room right next to her mom and dad. There was an alarm system that was not activated. Somebody entered the home. Somebody assaulted this little girl and then left.
I suggested multiple times that the case seemed very similar to the Ramsey case. When I told the police detectives about this, they said, no, this has no similarity at all.
Frustrated by the attitude of the Boulder police, the parents hired a private detective. He uncovered the same pattern of late-night break-ins that have now caught the attention of detectives investigating the Ramsey murder.
We learned about a series of intrusions and attempted assaults where someone would come home and find someone in their bedroom in the middle of the night, or someone appeared in someone's bedroom in the middle of the night. To me, it's so similar that you'd have to think there's a very good chance that it was the same person, or it may just be that there's a number of lowlives running around. Whether they know each other or not, who knows? The similarities are pretty compelling, though, and it seems to me if you were the police, you'd at least be curious about it rather than not wanting to hear about it.
They would just enter the home in a ninja costume.
All dressed in black.
The detectives now hunting John Bonet's killer are shocked that the lead was ignored.
We never could tie him down.
The fact that Boulder PD ignored information was just absolutely ludicrous. Why are you not taking this information and seeing if it was related to the Ramsey case? You have an obligation as a law enforcement agency to take these facts and either eliminate it or say, guess what, it is part of the Ramsey homicide.
While dismissing any link to the Ramsey case, the Boulder police dismayed the parents by questioning their daughter's school friends, in the process revealing what had happened to her, something she wanted kept secret.
If I had to rate the police performance in this case on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd rate it a -10, because it was not only incompetent and dishonest in that they would tell us they were doing things that they didn't do. Not only that, but it caused additional harm to a victim.
You know, in the Dance West case, you know, the victim alerts mom and is able to get up and leave.
These detectives believe, had the mother not awoken and disturbed the intruder, it could have gone badly for her too. The parents are only too aware of this.
The possibility that it could have turned out the same way is pretty obvious, and then you'd have the police saying, well, it's clear that the parent must have done it because nobody else could get in there. But for my wife being a light sleeper, we might be in the newspapers now, as well as the Ramseys.
Today, the Ramseys live in Charlevoix, North Michigan. They are still grieving and are now impoverished. Before the murder of her daughter, Patsy Ramsey had ovarian cancer. When it returned last year, she had no medical insurance. At 60, John Ramsey has considered taking a job as a carpenter to survive. They are involved in a libel action against a US TV station and have been advised not to give interviews. But they gave one to us earlier. Nothing has changed since.
Regretfully, the police walked into our home that morning and said, oh, murdered child, parents asleep, must have been the parents.
Everything
and
went...
focused on that from day one. And God knows whether we'll ever be able to capture the murderer or not.
You know, a murder took away the Ramsey's daughter, but we took away everything else. When I say we, I mean society. All of us. The police and press included. Now we have a chance to rectify the situation. We have a chance to identify a perpetrator in this case.